How to navigate the 3D when your specific person is being disrespectful. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my channel. This is Priya, your manifestation coach. And in this video, we are going to talk about what to do if your specific person is being disrespectful in the 3D whilst you're manifesting the version of them that you prefer. But first, if you would like to get coached by me, I offer an online course, Manifest Your SP Mastery. This is where I show you step by step exactly how to manifest a version of your specific person that you desire. I also offer monthly membership coaching. This is where you can get group live coaching with me on a weekly basis to really stay on top of your manifestation game. And finally, I also offer one-on-one coaching to help you manifest anything that your heart desires. This also includes text and voice note membership. You can get access to any of these offerings by simply clicking the link below in the description box. Okay, let's get back to this video. How to navigate disrespectful behavior from your specific person in the 3D. Now, the reason why I made this video is because there's a lot of confusion out there about boundaries when it comes to putting boundaries in the 3D whilst manifesting your specific person. And I really wanted to shine some light on how to best navigate the 3D if you are experiencing a version of your specific person that is being disrespectful. First and foremost, we want to go back to cause and effect. Everything in your reality is always reflecting back to you your assumptions, dominant thought patterns, and beliefs. Yes, this is true. And your specific person is also reflecting these things back to you. However, this does not mean that we have to tolerate disrespectful behavior in the 3D that we are not okay with. But at the same time, we absolutely want to be changing our identity and our stories about our specific person and about our self-concept. Because if we don't do that, then we will manifest the same thing from a different face. What do I mean by this? Let's take an example here. Let's say that you desire to manifest a loving, committed relationship with your specific person, and maybe you're currently in a situationship. And maybe you are experiencing a disrespectful version of them. Maybe they are constantly flirting with other girls in front of your face, and you're not okay with this. So then you ask yourself, well, everybody's me pushed out and my SP is reflecting me. So maybe I guess I should just tolerate this behavior, although I'm not okay with it, and just keep persisting with my affirmations. On the other hand, maybe you're somebody who's like, fuck SP, fuck this shit, I'm not going to be treated this way. And then you put a boundary in the 3D, maybe you block them or you stop talking to them. So there's two extremes here of how people can handle this situation. And the truth is, you want to come back to what this work is about. This work is about changing self, meaning your primary focus should always be on, okay, I need to change my stories about my specific person and begin to see them in a preferable way, such as my specific person is always loyal and faithful. They always treat me with respect. We're in a happy, committed relationship. I'm lovable. I am always a priority. I'm always chosen, etc., etc. Yes, you want to be doing that. That should be a given that you are doing that. And nothing changes until you do that. Yes, yes, yes. However, this does not mean that you also have to tolerate disrespectful behavior in the 3D. So if your specific person is treating you in a way that is not okay with you, it doesn't mean that you have to sit there and take them flirting with other people in front of your face, or perhaps there's somebody who's constantly putting you down or saying things that are not okay. You don't have to tolerate any of that. So what that means is you remove yourself from the situation first and foremost as an act of self-love. Meaning if you're not okay with maybe they're flirting with other girls in front of you and they just won't commit to you and you're not okay with that, you remove yourself from the situation from an act of self-love because you're choosing you. I'm not okay with that, so why should I engage with that behavior? But at the same time, you don't just stop there, right? Because I've seen people get stuck in this where they're like, oh yeah, forget him, and then they move on, and then they go to somebody new, and then the same pattern occurs with the new person, and then they dismiss that person, they meet somebody new, and the same thing happens, right? The same pattern keeps happening over and over again, and that's because you haven't changed your identity, you haven't changed your self-concept, you haven't changed your stories about how love and relationship works for you. And so you absolutely want to make sure that you're also taking care of this, that yes, if you remove yourself from the situation with regards to SP, where they have disrespected you in some way, you also want to change your stories. You want to address the stories that cause them to treat you that way in the first place. And that will usually come down to self-concept, meaning you don't really know your value and your worth yet. You're not somebody who knows that you're lovable and good enough and perfect, or that you're God of your reality. And you absolutely want to focus on your self-concept, on knowing these things about yourself. And you also want to change your stories about your specific person. So you think of them in the favorable way, and you're thinking of them from the end. Such as, specific person loves and adores me, they always treat me with respect, they're always loyal and faithful to me, we're in a happy, loving, committed relationship, they love me exactly the way that I like to be loved. Whatever it is that you are looking to manifest, you absolutely want to focus on changing your stories around that, on changing your dominant state to your desired state. At the same time, you absolutely want to remove yourself from things that you're not okay with. Always prioritize your safety, always prioritize you, meaning always choose to love yourself first. And if a certain environment isn't working for you because you're like, this is just very disrespectful, of course, remove yourself. Do not stay in that environment. But you also want to remember that if you don't change what caused that in the first place, you will continue to manifest the same thing from a different face. So you want to be aware of both. Now, something else that I want to mention here is that, of course, if you are being abused in any way, physically, sexually, or emotionally, absolutely remove yourself from the situation and prioritize your safety. Like, first and foremost, that's not even something that you should be contemplating. Absolutely, please get yourself to safety first. But then from there, the same thing applies. You want to start asking yourself, well, what in me caused that person to reflect this back to me? Because if you don't take a look at that, and you just move on to somebody new and you just think, well, this person's an asshole, they abused me. And again, we're not dismissing that and we're not invalidating that. But if you don't look into, well, what in me caused that to be reflected back to me, you will manifest the same thing from somebody else. You'll just be an abuse cycle. It will be different face, but same shit. So you do want to change your internal patterns that say, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, love and relationships don't work for me, all men are assholes, or all women are bitches. Whatever your story is, you want to absolutely change those things. Ultimately, this comes back to there is nobody else to change but self. Remember, you are the source of everything, meaning the identity that you're operating from will be reflected back to you by people in your 3D, especially your specific person. So when it comes to putting boundaries in the 3D, it's not a holistic view. Yes, put the boundary in the 3D as an act of self-love, meaning you're no longer going to put yourself in an environment where you are feeling disrespected because you love yourself too much. But then the other side of that, to give a holistic picture, is that you still want to be focused on changing your self-concept and your stories about your SP, if it's somebody that you're manifesting in order to manifest the version of them that you desire. And also, if you do decide that you don't want SP and you want somebody new, you still absolutely want to focus on your self-concept and making sure you have stories that say, I am lovable, I am good enough, love and relationships are so easy for me, everybody that I meet always operates with integrity and always wants to be in a committed relationship with me. You absolutely want to change your identity to be favorable, because if you don't, you will manifest the same shitty treatment that you got from your specific person from somebody new. You can't run away from you. Your identity is always being reflected back to you. People always reflect back to you who you are in consciousness. And that's why it's so important to know that from the highest level, it's self that matters. Who you are being is the most important thing that matters. But then in the 3D, of course, always prioritize yourself, get yourself to safety, and do not tolerate things that you're not okay with. But at the same time, it's the internal work that's going to give you a different result. Not moving to a different country or not moving into a new relationship with a different person. Because if you haven't changed your identity, you will manifest the same thing from somebody new. So I hope this video has helped shine some light on how to navigate disrespectful behavior from your specific person in the 3D. To summarize, yes, everybody is you pushed out. And yes, the only reason why you're experiencing disrespectful behavior from your specific person in the 3D is because it is a reflection of something going on in either your self-concept or your stories about your specific person. However, this does not mean that you need to tolerate this disrespectful behavior from your specific person in the 3D just because you manifested it consciously or unconsciously. You can absolutely remove yourself from the situation. And then once you're in a much safer environment, you can then focus on shifting your self-concept and your stories about your SP so that when they do come back in, it's going to be the version of them that absolutely treats you with respect and adores you because you have focused on self. You have focused on shifting your identity to be the most amazing version of you that knows your value and worth and that has favorable stories about your specific person. Secondly, you're also aware that if you decide that you don't want to be with your specific person and you want to be with somebody new, everything is valid and it's up to you what you desire, but you also want to make sure that you do focus on self-concept work, meaning you do focus on knowing that you're lovable and good enough exactly the way that you are. Because if you don't focus on changing these things and you get into a new relationship with a new face, you will experience the same bad treatment that you got from your specific person because you haven't changed your identity. You're still operating from the same patterns that you had when you were with your specific person. And finally, it goes without saying that if you are experiencing any type of abuse from your specific person, please remove yourself immediately from the situation and get to a place of safety. And then from there, again, you want to focus on the inner work so that you don't manifest the same thing from somebody else. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day or a wonderful evening. Mwah.